It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222, your emails at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. There are a lot of bills that are awaiting a signature on Gavin Newsom's desk, including the one that's probably been talked about the most this legislative season, SB 79. If Gavin signs that, it means there's no more local control for zoning anywhere that's near a bus stop. But that's not the only bill. Gavin just signed some bill that's supposed to regulate AI. Good luck with that. But there are hundreds of bills that go through the legislature every single year for a lot of much smaller issues that apparently the state of California is here to focus on. And a lot of them this year have to do with food. We've talked about the bill that Gavin may or may not sign that would identify the ultra-processed foods that are in schools and ban them, so no more hot Cheetos at your elementary school. I'm assuming that'd be on the list. But there are other things that are food related that may be changing in the state of California. And the thing that the legislature is looking at this year specifically has to do with your cookware. The state of California would like to eliminate certain chemicals that they believe are harmful to you, harmful to the environment. It's something called a PFAS, which means it's a forever chemical, and certain studies have linked PFAS to some kinds of damage. And where do you find these PFAS? Where are these forever chemicals? Well, if you own nonstick pots and pans, that's what the Teflon is made out of. So California might be banning those. I don't think they're going to take them away from your kitchen if you already own them, but it may be in the future in California, you cannot buy non-stick cookware. Let's see what is the deal here. Let's go to a report from KPIX in the Bay.
The bill on Governor Newsom's desk could ban something commonly used in kitchens. The goal is to get rid of so-called forever chemicals, including Teflon used in non-stick pots and pans.
Now, I'm just going to tell you off the bat, you do whatever you want. I do not own any nonstick cookware. And it's not that I have any ideological reasoning. I don't know about the forever chemicals. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for you. I will just tell you from experience, as somebody that cooks every single day, I found nonstick cookware much harder to clean than stainless steel or cast iron. In fact, I find cast iron the easiest thing to clean because cast iron you can use chainmail on. Stainless steel you can use steel wool on. Non-stick pans, which is a misnomer because there's plenty of things that stick to those non-stick pans, well, you're going to have to use that simple little blue scrubber, and you're going to have to scrub and scrub and soak and scrub and scrub. It's just not something that I do. Also, who's cooking without any kind of oil or butter? By the way, pro tip, I really love this company, Graza, and they're the ones that make that fancy Spanish olive oil that you see on the grocery stores. They have a spray now, which is a lot healthier because you're using way less oil. That spray is the best. We probably go through a can every week. And it's high heat olive oil, which means there's no flavoring to it. So you're really just cooking food at the proper temperature. That's the other thing. Nonstick pans can't get too hot. Otherwise, they do release toxic fumes. And once you learn a thing or two about cooking, you understand why you want to be cooking, especially meats, at very high temperatures. I love cast iron. I have a Lodge. A friend of ours actually got it for us. We had this girl staying with us for a few months that worked with my wife. And as a thank you gift for having the hospitality to have her stay with us, she bought us these cast iron pans, and we've been completely obsessed with them. They go in the oven. You don't have to worry about that. They get you the really high heat, the really high sear. But more important than that, I just find them way easier to clean. And I think a lot of people think that cast iron and stainless steel and enameled cast iron are harder to clean. That is not the case. But that's not what this is about. This is about possibly those nonstick pans being bad for you.
Studies have shown they can cause some adverse health effects like cancer or reproductive issues.
Well, we don't want that. I mean, most people probably don't want that.
But the potential ban on nonstick cookware has the restaurant industry up in arms, with celebrity chefs and Hollywood stars speaking out about it.
Okay, define celebrity chefs.
Brad Hamilton has more on the kitchen debate that's heating up.
You knew there was going to be a pun in this story. They can't help themselves. But that is true. While if you want to avoid these chemicals, you can do whatever you want in your own household, and you can buy whatever cooking products that you want. What's being used in the restaurants? Although I would assume if restaurants want cookware that's going to last a really long time, they're probably getting stainless steel or cast iron, because those will last you forever. I'm hungry now, and I just had lunch.
For Chef Brian Hoagland, the kitchen is more than just a workplace. It's the space where he feels most at home. But now, he worries that some of the tools that he's relied on for years could be taken away.
Part of my opinion is I feel like chefs should have the choice to use the tools they want in their kitchen, not be told what tools we need to use.
And that fear stems from a law now sitting on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. Senate Bill 682 would ban the sale of nonstick cookware and other kitchen products made with a group of chemicals called PFAS, commonly referred to as the forever chemical. Arlene Bloom.
Now, I don't know exactly what else is made with these forever chemicals, what's made with Teflon. I have a bunch of silicone spatulas. That's not PFAS, is it? Let's look that up right now, all together. Are silicone spatulas PFAS? Come on, come on, come on. They are not made with PFAS. Okay, because those things are great. And, you know, pro tip, if you like to make muffins or egg cups, silicone muffin tin, way better than a metal muffin tin. Those are a pain in the butt to clean. These ones go in the dishwasher. I got a lot of pro tips, mostly on how to make cleaning easier, because I do a lot of it. In fact, enameled cast iron, you know, like a Le Creuset, Dutch oven, chef's oven, they actually sell this solution at Sur La Table where if you've got a really bad stain on it, you just dab a little of this, wipe it with a paper towel. It's like it's brand new. I've had a pan for 2 years, and it still looks perfect on the inside. On the outside, you can tell that it's had a lot of fire touching it.
Made with a group of chemicals called PFAS.
And of course, if you don't want to clean anything, just grill outside. Grills taste better.
Made with a group of chemicals called PFAS, commonly referred to as the forever chemical. Arlene Bloom, an environmental health scientist at UC Berkeley, has spent years tracking their impact.
You know, I have a very, very, very specific memory of the last time I ever cooked with nonstick. My in-laws bought us a green pan, which is obviously a pan that's supposed to be good for the earth, and it's nonstick, so you don't have to use oil or whatever. And for some reason, I had a wild hair that I wanted to cook eggs on this green pan. And this is in 2016, so this is when I knew nothing about cooking. And I don't know why I had this idea that I wanted to fry an egg without any oil or butter or anything. And let's just say I had the temperature so high and wasn't paying attention that all of a sudden this little film started bubbling up on the top of the pan, and I ruined it. I think we had that pan for just a couple of weeks.
These chemicals never break down, ever. And all the ones that have been studied are known to be harmful. So you only want to use a chemical like that if there's no substitute.
The author of the bill, State Senator Ben Allen of LA County, says the initial legislation aimed to eliminate any product made with PFAS. But to get a deal done, they started with several categories that have been phased out elsewhere. including nonstick cookware.
Every single product that we're looking to phase out in our bill has already been successfully phased out in at least one other state in the country.
Well, there's an argument. Someone else banned it first, so let's ban it too. Again, I'm not necessarily opposed to this, but I do understand freedom of choice. But if this stuff can really be bad for you, I'd prefer it's not in commercial kitchens, but I don't know how much it is.
In many cases, many other states.
Because for the most part, and correct me if I'm wrong, nonstick cookware is super cheap. And I mean that in that it doesn't cost a lot, and also it's super flimsy.
The bill is drawing high-profile supporters, including actor Mark Ruffalo, who played a lawyer facing off against a PFAS manufacturer in the film Dark Waters.
I think I'm going to skip that one.
And then there are against critics, like celebrity chefs Rachel Ray and Thomas Keller, who argue that the...
Does Rachel Ray even count as a celebrity chef anymore? She's not even doing the talk show. But okay, Rachel Ray likes nonstick cookware. Great.
And then there are against critics, like celebrity chefs Rachel Ray and Thomas Keller, who argue that the ban goes too far. Steve Burns, the president of the Cookware Alliance, believes the industry he represents has been unfairly targeted, and he also pushes back on the claim that nonstick is proven to be unsafe.
Completely safe. And as a matter of fact, the United States Food and Drug Administration has specifically authorized fluoropolymers to be used in the preparation of food.
So what's in a pan has turned into a bigger fight.
By the way, if you're curious what else the state's going to be going after next, because we're just starting with cookware, but if they really want to get rid of these forever chemicals, these polymers that never go away, that never break down, that might be hazardous to your health, well, water-resistant fabrics, which I always find to feel super strange. Moisture-wicking clothes are odd. Certain cosmetics, which means you're putting that stuff on your face, firefighting foams, I think we need that. Fast food packaging, okay, we should be able to figure something out there. Why aren't we just using cardboard and paper? Not that weird waxy paper. And paints and sealants. Uh-oh. What are we going to do about that? Well, I'm sure those will be the things that we ban next because it's never a one-off. If the state is determined to ban these chemicals, they're going to ban everything that these chemicals make, including durable, water-resistant jackets. Uh-oh. Waterproof isn't good for you. Some other food packaging that has the PFAS, microwave popcorn and takeout containers that are not... You know, at this point, I get irritated if someone still has styrofoam. Not because I care that much about, I care a little about saving the planet, but styrofoam's so yucky, and the cardboard containers are so easy.
On one side, health and safety. On the other, cost and convenience. But for chefs like Brian, the debate feels like it's happening far away, but the impact could land right here in his kitchen.
We'll abide by the laws, of course. We'll maneuver which direction we need to make things work around here. That's what we do,
So a little bit of clarification. Nobody is going to be required to throw out their nonstick pans. This bill is targeting the production of the cookware itself with a compliance deadline that wouldn't take effect until around 2030.
So it's not the sale, it's the manufacturing of, because, what's going to happen there. Anyone that is manufacturing cookware in California is going to just go manufacture it in Arizona, or who are we kidding? China.
A similar law went into effect in Minnesota at the start of the year called Amara's Law. That ban includes cookware, cosmetics, cleaning products, and more. In August, a judge tossed out a lawsuit that claimed the ban discriminates out-of-state commerce.
That's an interesting argument. Well, I know it's not the biggest issue, but I'd argue of the things that Gavin Newsom is going to be signing on his desk, this is something that probably affects more than you'd think, because most of us cook. And if you don't cook, you're probably eating at a restaurant that has cookware. So I'd love to know what you think about this, because maybe, just maybe, Gavin Newsom or one of his staffers is listening to us on the stream, and he hasn't decided how he's going to either sign this bill into law or veto it. So let's just get a little poll out there because I'm very curious. The state of California would like to ban nonstick cookware. They say Teflon is bad for you and it doesn't break down. Do you think the state of California should go ahead and ban nonstick cookware, or is this California government overreach? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think Teflon is bad enough for us that we should get rid of it in California? Or is this, once again, the state of California going too far? Call in right now and tell me what you think about this new bill. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Should the state of California ban non-stick cookware? That's the question on Gavin Newsom's desk. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll have your calls coming up next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. There is a bill on Gavin Newsom's desk that, if signed, would ban non-stick cookware. They claim that Teflon and things that are in non-stick cookware are full of forever chemicals that are toxic and do not biodegrade, and that's not good. Do you think the state of California should ban nonstick cookware, or is this classic California overreach? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Keon in L.A. Keon, hello.
Hi, yes. How are you? Thanks for taking the call.
Doing great.
Yes, no, I just was going to say that, I was born and raised here in LA, and there's a lot of, this is like a fascist state that has passed all type of draconian legislation, outlawing all types of things. And it really seems like they're dead set against small business and they want to destroy all small business. But, we've been poisoned by so many things, and, they're just discovering microplastics and PFAs. So, it's easy to get really sensitive about, when they keep banning things, but this is one of those things that's just overdue. There's a large body of evidence that, has shown that Teflon is toxic to people. So in my opinion, there's not small businesses that are the ones that are making these pans. And this is one of those things that they should, because, they still sell it in grocery stores, Ralph's, Vaughn's, Pavilions. They're selling Teflon. It's still very common, although the research is old showing that this is toxic. So this is one of those things that has to go. That doesn't mean that California is reasonable in their constant attacks and overreach. But, yeah, Teflon's got to go.
I think you make a really strong point, although apparently, according to what this bill does, it would ban the manufacture, but not necessarily the sale of it. But maybe they'll go to that next. But you make a strong point for why Teflon, no, time to go. Thanks so much for the call, Keon. Appreciate it. Let's go to Red in Long Beach. Red, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Randy? Longtime listener. Love the show.
Thank you.
Hey, so I work in the apparel industry, and we've had a lot of discussion and movement over the last, I'd say, anywhere from 8 years to 10 years about how the industry would go with PFAS. And specifically looking at California now, in 2025, they already came out with laws that are restricting these substances. Perfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, you'll no longer find in a lot of the apparel that's currently going into the market right now. However, there's exceptions for stuff where you don't have a replacement, such as what you were talking about earlier, waterproof fabric. So think of your snowboarding jacket and stuff like that. Down the road, they'll have restrictions to pull that off the shelves too, for new sales. But what we've noticed, and I'm kind of making a comparison to Prop 65 with lead, how we've banned that through that, those little annoying warning labels we see on every single product. But how would you compare that with maybe the ban of lead versus the ban of PFAS? Is that something that the state needs to get involved in? Or in the apparel industry, what we see is some of the retailers will actually come through and say, hey, we're going to create the standard now and require the manufacturers to say that it doesn't have that product in it anymore.
Well, that's a really interesting point, because I think as the public gets more educated about certain things, the market will demand that people don't want that stuff in their apparel, in their cookware, what have you. So does the state need to get involved here? That's a really good point, Red.
Yeah, and I really hope that we don't have to see a bunch of labeling now, just like Prop 65. I mean, really, who reads those things?
Well, and it's so overkill. Literally, there's a sign on anywhere that sells coffee, because coffee, when you heat it up, contains this chemical acrylamide, which is in anything that you cook. And they're like, well, it could cause cancer. That's overdoing it to the point where people don't read warning labels anymore.
Totally true. Totally true. Well, I'm glad you're kind of throwing this out there. It's a different sidebar on some stuff that you've done. And, yeah, big time always listener. We'll always listen to you, and stay away from the 405.
I will take you to that. Thanks so much for the call, Red. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. In the battle against forever chemicals, the state legislature passed a bill that, if Gavin Newsom signs, would ban nonstick cookware in California. If you own it, I don't think they're going to take it from you, but you might not be able to buy it anytime soon. Do you think the state of California should go ahead and ban nonstick cookware, or is this California overreach? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most, and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. We're about a year and a month away from a governor's race. There's going to be a primary in 6 months, but next November, there's going to be a new governor. And everyone who's running, whether they are Democrat, Republican, or independent, they're all saying the same thing. California's not building enough housing. We got to build more housing. And while I guess at a macro level, you could say, sure, got to build more housing. We're not building enough housing. Have you ever just taken the time to notice how much construction is going on in this state? Because it sure does seem like there is quite a bit. Actually, I'm walking around my neighborhood every day, and there's a guy who's converting his garage into an ADU. But I think what they did, it's a weird thing. Because instead of taking out the garage door and then putting in a new wall, they just kind of glued the garage door so you can tell that it used to be a garage, but now it has windows. Hey, you know what? You do you. I'm sure they're going to be able to rent that thing out for like $3,000. But there's one community in California that claims we're building more housing than anybody, and it's making a difference. Let's see if it is. Here is CBS 8 in San Diego.
San Diego is on a housing hot streak, apparently, and Mayor Todd Gloria says the city is now outpacing California's largest cities when it comes to new homes being built.
But have the cost of any of those homes gone down, or has the rent gone down? This is the part of the correlation I don't understand. At what point have we built so much housing that the prices go down? Because that hasn't happened yet.
This morning, he's unveiling the city's annual housing report, highlighting record-setting numbers, especially near transit, and what it means for the future of affordable housing here at home. Our Chris Groh was there for the announcement.
The topic of housing is complicated, has a lot of layers to it, and it can be a tough one for people to address, both residents and city leaders alike. But today, the mayor is touting a victory after the annual report on homes was released. Now, according to the report, nearly 9,000 new homes were permitted in 2024.
But what does homes mean? Are we talking mega mansions? Are we talking apartment buildings? Are we talking ADUs? We know how much San Diego loves their ADUs. Is anybody building Little starter homes.
The report also says that San Diego is performing better than Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, and Fresno on a per capita basis. The mayor is attributing much of the success to programs like the Affordable Housing Permit Now program. It was put into place by the mayor through executive order and requires applications for 100% affordable housing projects to be reviewed in 30 days or less.
And if you wonder what that term means, 100% affordable, it means subsidized housing. I don't know where the subsidies are coming from. If they're coming from the government, they're coming from the developer, they're coming from grants. But it's not that they're building cheap housing. They're building housing that is subsidized.
1 in 6 new homes in 2023 and 24 were permitted through that program, according to the report. Now, while the mayor and others, advocates, other council members gave this media briefing, they did so outside a new apartment complex.
Oh, well, that's what you would do at one of these things. You have a big press conference with a backdrop behind you. Look what we can build. We're going to solve this crisis. Great idea.
That has recently opened up here in Bankers Hill. It's close to a community park, has amenities on the ground floor. The apartment was touted as an example of the progress of building more homes, but it also represents another issue in this complex. Layered one is affordability. The rent here for a one-bedroom apartment, a little more than $4,000.
So the mayor of San Diego, Todd Gloria, holds a press conference touting his accomplishments on building so much housing, doing his part to solve the housing crisis. And they choose to hold this press conference in front of a newly constructed apartment building where the rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $4,000. Almost like we're not doing this right.
Mayor Gloria believes there is progress being made on affordability citywide and that building more housing is a key way to stem the tide.
I mean, even all these ADUs you hear about in San Diego, they're not renting them for $1,000.
But as I stand here today, this morning, I can promise you this. I will do everything in my power to build more homes near good-paying jobs, high-performing schools, and high-quality community amenities. Because every San Diegan deserves the dignity of a roof over their head at a price they can afford. And I will not.
Well, they can't afford who can afford $4,000 for a one bedroom? That's $1,000 more than my mortgage on my 3.5 bedroom house.
And I will not stop until that is a reality.
And neighborhoods that saw some of the most permits issued include Uptown, Navajo, Mira Mesa, Claremont, Kearny Mesa, and others. Reporting from Bankers Hill, I'm Chris Grove for CBS 8.
But if you listen to that piece, one of the things that was mentioned is, well, that apartment building, the one with the $4,000 a month for one bedroom, it's got all kinds of amenities. And this is where the whole system of what's being approved to build is a giant house of cards. Because there is a lot of apartment construction going on, maybe not as much in the city of Los Angeles because of Measure ULA, but in the rest of Southern California, it's happening. But what's being built is not exactly what you would think should be built. Cheaper homes, small places, don't need any of the frills. There's no money in that because you got to remember the way this works now is developer builds the project, but they're not the one that rents it out. No, they sell a whole bunch of these things in a portfolio to a real estate trust. And the real estate trust then puts people in charge of this thing. It's all an investment opportunity. So you need to make the face value of that property as high as possible. And one of the ways you do that is a whole bunch of stupid amenities that nobody's going to use. For instance, listen to this report from ABC 10, also in San Diego.
When looking for a place, renters look at a variety of factors, from the cost of rent to the location. The other big factor, the amenities. But are the amenities worth the extra cost in rent? We checked in with experts to find out. Driving around San Diego County, you will see a number of apartment complexes that are being built. Many are luxury apartments that showcase high-end amenities like the garden communities of California.
Oh, that's pretty esoteric.
Like the garden communities of California, which has a property in La Jolla. Its website lists a number.
The garden communities of California. Yes, it's still a dumpy apartment, but it's got gardens.
Its website lists a number of apartment amenities, such as expansive patios, a full-size washer and dryer, and assigned parking.
Okay, those aren't. Wait, we're counting parking as an amenity? I will say, washer and dryer important. I got in my tiny little studio apartment, thanks to my parents, the tiniest little washer and dryer that would fit in a studio apartment where we vented out the dryer through the chimney. But it saved me because having to use a communal washing machine, oh boy, I couldn't handle it. Of course, that thing that I had was so small, it could only fit like 1 day's worth of clothes. So I was doing laundry like every other day.
The website also lists community amenities, which includes a hair salon.
Here we go. This is the crap that you're paying for if you rent one of these units that you're never going to use. But they add all of these things to build up the value so they can sell this to the real estate trust. There is so much House of Cards investment going on with these properties. It's almost like it doesn't matter if anyone lives there. For instance, you know how a lot of these buildings have all these move-in specials where they're going to knock off 2 months out of the rent? That's because ultimately, as long as someone's in there at the rate that they're paying, that's what counts at face value for the investors to buy one of these things.
Community amenities, which includes a hair salon, tanning salon, outdoor yoga studio, and a bowling alley on the property.
Okay, nobody needs a bowling alley in their apartment building. That is one of the stupidest ways I've ever heard to jack up everybody's rent. I don't even think it comes with bowling shoes.
Property.
I think over the years, decades, I've kind of witnessed an evolution.
And what? You got 200, 300 people in an apartment building? How many lanes are we talking about? I don't think they have 10 lanes. Maybe they've got one? Is there a line forming? Are you paying an extra $100 a month for a bowling alley? That's insanity. Who asked for this?
In amenities.
Timothy Wright, the director of the Corky McMillan Center for Real Estate at San Diego State, says many apartment complexes showcase amenities to generate interest.
They're great for leasing, great. Some of the tours, they kind of fall in love with it. They envision themselves using these amenities more than they are.
They're not using them. I'm going to go to the hair salon that's inside my apartment building. Stop it.
But, it's kind of the 80-20 rule. I think 20% of the...
And when you look at the actual delivery of these amenities that are advertised for you, especially those in-unit gyms, they're usually as cheap as possible with like 1 or 2 machines, maybe a treadmill, maybe one TV. Not worth it for what you're paying to be in a luxury apartment. But this is what gets approved and this is what's being built. It's either this or subsidized housing. There's no middle ground. And that's what everyone needs, which is not being built, which is why everything still goes up in price.
Tenants are really using the space 80% of the time.
And amenities on average adds a couple $100s a month to the cost of rent. For example, a property that has EV charging stations typically adds $245 a month to rent.
That's more than gasoline. What's the point of having an electric car? Nonsensical. Also, haven't really seen many apartment buildings with EV charging stations, but unless it's dedicated to you, that's going to cost a lot of money and be a lot of fights.
Regardless if you have an electric vehicle or a
everyone has to pay $245 a month in rent, whether you have an electric car or not. The concept behind these monster buildings is just nuts. Because if you can afford that level of phony-ass luxury, you'd buy a house.
Or a fitness center will cost you an additional $115 a month, even if you don't use a gym.
Aren't most gym memberships way under that? This all seems crazy.
They drive up the cost of development, right? Because they got to be built at space that's being done. And
I mean, how many units could you put in that bowling alley? We'll come back to this because this is part of everything that's wrong with the way that we build. And this isn't just a California thing, but this is all it is. It is inflating the value of these developments so they can get bought by real estate trusts. And that includes adding things that nobody needs, like bowling alleys. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's go to Dale in Long Beach. Dale, hello.
Hello, Randy. San Diego ranks 10th in the most impossible, unaffordable cities. Yeah,
and that number has not gone down.
It says living in San Diego on $70,000 required shared housing, reduced car usage, limited dining out, and a tight budgeting.
It is a beautiful, beautiful place, but it certainly isn't cheap. And all of the approvals for all of this housing, the cost has not gone down one bit. Thanks so much for the call, Dale. Appreciate it. Even with those explosions of ADUs that are pissing off all the neighborhoods, the ADUs are renting out for like $3,000. I get $3,000 for my garage. Oh, my goodness. But my neighbors would hate me. They would not be happy. So I would have to move, rent out this place, and then also rent out the garage as an ADU, and they can take the complaints out with them. By the way, programming note, there won't be a News Blitz tomorrow because tomorrow we will be carrying live the Niners as they take on the Rams. Is that one happening at SoFi Stadium? Yes, it is. SoFi Stadium, which is currently missing its Hawks that are supposed to go after the Seagulls because someone stole them, because of course they did, because it's Los Angeles. If you ever miss an episode of this show and you want to catch up, go to kbc.com/newsblitz. Search for the News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for the News Blitz with KBC News Blitz with Randy Wang, and you'll find it. Just search for my name. You'll find something. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.